Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near-death experience of Robyn, and her experience occurred on May 19th of 2016 and was documented on December 9th of 2017. Open quote. I choked on my food at lunch and it was blocking my airway. Nothing I did, included drinking water, removed the obstruction. I couldn't breathe, speak, or cough. I messed around trying to clear my airway for some time, but wasn't panicked. Fortunately, my boss was in the next office. Eventually, I realized I needed his help, so I started to take a few steps towards his office from my desk where I was eating lunch. As I took these steps, I felt my legs giving way while thinking that I must get to his office and push myself hard to walk. Apparently, I collapsed and fell backwards, hitting the back of my head on the bottom filing cabinet drawer. My boss heard the bang, but didn't take much notice for a minute or so. Then he called out when I didn't respond. He came to check on me. He found me by the filing cabinet on my back with my face red and bluish color. He was a big man and managed to pull me up and did the Heimlich maneuver on me 4 times before food obstruction came up. The first thing I remember is floating up into a horizontal tunnel. There was a high-pitched buzzing sound in my ears, but it didn't bother me. I felt an overwhelming sense of complete bliss and contentment and was overwhelmed by the intensity of these emotions. The closest way I can explain it is the sensation of feeling on your skin when diving into water and feeling the sensation of the water on your face. It is like complete involvement in all the sensory input you are feeling because you are in the moment and nothing else matters. I was slowly floating forward but had no sense of time or urgency. I had only curiosity. I could see the light ahead of me and felt drawn to it, but I was moving slowly and enjoying the wondrous sensations I felt. I turned my head back to look behind me and thought, oh, that is where I popped up into here. It was like a white tunnel ending at the start of the tunnel. I then turned back to face forward and became conscious of something happening to my right. I was curious, but not in any hurry to check it out. It was like I was looking at the back of myself, and I was aware that my body seemed to be looking at something intently. It was a strange sensation, like somehow I was separated from the me in the tunnel. It was like I was an observer of another me in the tunnel, but the real me was a being feeling the sensation. I find it hard to describe this as it seems quite weird, as I wasn't looking at the me that was collapsed on the ground. I was unaware of what had happened previously, but was feeling interested in what I was seeing, but was more interested in the wonderful emotions I was feeling. I felt that I should investigate it further, but I was more interested in the tunnel and the emotions I was feeling, so I thought that I will look at it later. I continued to slowly float towards the light. There was no sense of time or need for hurry. It was like I could move at the pace I wanted to move at. As I got closer to the light, I became focused on that completely and wanted to get through the tunnel to the light. As I was nearing the end of the tunnel, I suddenly felt a sucking sensation and felt myself sucked back into my body. When I came to, after my experience, I wondered why my boss was holding me and squeezing my chest. I was unable to stand on my feet. I was confused, as I felt that I must have been in a dream or wondered how I had gotten to work. We never called an ambulance, as he assumed I was okay once I had recovered. I was quite shocked and kept thanking him for saving me. Although I was quite angry at being back in my body, I thought that if I kept saying thank you, that I would start to feel grateful. I continued to do my work, even though I was very confused, and found I had made a lot of mistakes in my work the following week. I left work an hour early and drove an hour home, during which I was able to analyze what had happened. I realized that I actually had died. I felt angry I was back and desperately wanted to be back in the tunnel to feel the bliss that I had felt there. end quote. And what an excellent description, Robyn, of the sensations and the feeling like water. I know that feeling, diving into a cold pool and you just feel it all over. That was a great description. And there are some questions. Question, did you feel separated from your body? Uncertain. I am unsure what the other body of me was looking at. It was like I was separated into two beings. My body had feeling, but the other body floating through the tunnel was thinking. I was conscious of my other self who was looking at something, but I could only see the back of the head of this other body. I am a bit confused by this part of my experience. I clearly left my body, though. Yes, maybe there are three bodies. Is it one on the ground and then one in the tunnel and one observing the one in the tunnel? I'm going to have to read that again. Rating your highest level of consciousness, more alert. It's hard to describe. It's like nothing was important except feeling the bliss and joy. It was like I was being allowed to analyze and accept the experience before I became aware of more things. Question, at what time during the experience were you at your highest level of consciousness? I was at the highest level of the alertness the whole time, but I was gradually becoming more aware of things as the experience continued. I remember feeling very happy as I was getting to the end of the tunnel. It was like an expectancy. Question, did time seem to speed up or slow down? Answer, there was no sense of time. It was like it was limited to my acceptance of what was happening, and I would slowly move on while becoming conscious of more and more things. Comparing your vision, answer, it seemed brighter and like I was visually aware of all that was happening around me. Comparing your hearing, answer, the only sound I heard was a high-pitched sound, although I was conscious of the noise. It was just there and didn't bother me. Hearing wasn't a big part of my experience, so it's hard to compare to what I hear normally. Question, did you see an unearthly light? Answer, uncertain. I just saw a light at the end of the tunnel, but it was inviting. I felt that I would see more once I got to the end of the tunnel. It was like seeing the brightest at the end of the tunnel that is darker than where I was heading. I was heading to that light. Question, what emotions did you feel during the experience? I felt extreme bliss, contentment, and peace like I have never felt before. I felt completely loved and protected. It was like being in a bubble or cocoon where nothing could hurt or touch me. I was happier than I have ever felt before. This has been the hardest to deal with as I long to be back there. Reality on earth seems so bland in comparison. Question, what importance did you place in your religious/spiritual life prior to your experience? Answer, slightly important. Question, what was your religion prior to your experience? Answer, unaffiliated, agnostic. Previously, I had been Christian, but over a period of time, I became agnostic around. Question, have your religious practices changed since your experience? Answer, yes, I have a completely different view of God and religion. Question, what importance do you place on your religious/spiritual life after your experience? Answer, unknown. Question, what is your religion now? Answer, do not know. Since my experience, I have been more certain there is a God, but this is different to what I had believed as a Christian. It is more like a force/energy/spirit. Question, did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer, inconsistent and consistent. Prior, I had come to conclusion there was no hell, as it didn't make sense that a loving God would punish us for being inferior. But I had moved to an agnostic view that God might exist or was unknowable, i.e. somewhere else in the universe. Now I know he/it exists in a different form to us, and we are a part of God, but completely different from what I had been taught. It's a sense of knowing that I can't prove it. Question, did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer, yes. Prior, I had become agnostic, but now I feel definitely there is a God, but not like the one I had been taught. So I looked more into New Age things and had a desire to know more about spiritual matters. I know I will go back once I die and look forward to it. I will complete the journey this time and welcome meeting, reconnecting, or merging with God in whatever form it takes. Question. During your experience, did you gain information about pre-mortal existence? Answer. Uncertain. I just have a sense of knowing that life continues on. I had already believed this as a Christian previously, but it's more a knowing there is a God, but not in the form of what I have been taught. I know there is no judgment or hell. I just know whatever God takes, he loves us and welcomes us. Let's see. Question. What life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer. Large changes in my life. I have a brain injury after the event. Mostly, I don't care about life and don't feel emotion. Brain injury is taking a long time to heal, so I'm not sure how much it affects my present perception. I had a lot of bad experiences in life prior to this, so I am angry to be back here. I did not want to come back. I long to be back in the tunnel and complete the journey. It has been very hard to adjust, and I think about what I experienced emotionally in the tunnel every day. I was always caring about people to an extreme. Now, I realize my life is about me, and I am not here to be everyone's slave like before. I didn't want to be back here, so if I have to be here, it's on my terms. I feel I have come back for a purpose, but not sure what that is, so this is frustrating. I don't react to things the same way because I have a detached attitude to life, and I feel that maybe we live in a simulated reality as life no longer seems real or important. The doctor was worried I might kill myself, but I explained I don't want to be sent back again. So although I am detached and long to be back in the tunnel, I know my time here isn't up. I am back for a reason, even though it makes me angry. The brain injury has made work difficult, and I can no longer cope with the travel and staying away from home that I used to do. My job is harder as I have trouble reading and have been diagnosed with neurological problems from concussion and hypoxia, which makes my brain process information slower and react slower. My family says I am different, but they accept me as I am, even though I am detached from them and life. Question. Have your relationships changed specifically because of your experience? Answer. Yes. Prior, I was always helping people to my detriment as wanted to be liked. I know now my life is my own. I am not here to be a slave, but to learn. I still help people, but not to the same extent. I am more balanced and take time for myself. I know what people have done to me in the past is their problem and not mine. I have understanding of their frailties, so got over a lot of past issues, and I'm not affected by them. I am not the same person I was. Question. Was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer. Yes. It was completely different from what I have experienced before or after the event. The intensity of the emotions was so much greater than what I have felt before. I tried to liken it to things I experienced here, like the sensation of water on my face, but that makes people think it was like swimming, but it wasn't. It was like trying to describe something that is not experienced here by comparing it to sensations here, which are nothing like the experience. Question, how accurately do you remember it? More accurately, it was more real than anything before or after. Life itself fades into insignificance in comparison. No psychic, ordinary, or non-ordinary or other special gifts. What parts of the experience are especially meaningful to you? Answer. The knowing there is a God in some form and that life continues, not because of a belief, but because of an inner knowledge and something to look forward to. I want to continue on that journey and see what I didn't experience when I died this time. Question. Have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer. Yes. I shared it with everyone who stood still long enough to listen. People were amazed and encouraged. Question. Did you have any knowledge of NDEs prior to your experience? Answer. Yes. I had read a lot about it as I was interested in the subject. I was surprised at the tunnel because it was horizontal, and I expected a vertical tunnel. I was disappointed my experience wasn't as involved as some people's NDEs, like I didn't get to the light. but my experience is what it is and has changed me profoundly. Question: what did you believe about the reality of your experience shortly after it happened? Answer: experience was real. I can't explain how I know it was real. Some people say it was due to changes in the brain when I was dying, but my answer is I was there and you weren't. I'm not saying that the brain doesn't release chemicals and etc., but I was more alive there than here, so I know it was real. It hasn't faded like a dream. I am still conscious of it, like the link hasn't severed. Although I am no longer there, nothing compares to it. Question: is there anything else that you would like to add about your experience? Answer: I used to be fearful of fast cars, speeding, etc. Not anymore. I enjoy going fast in cars now. I also seem to have lost my fear of spiders. I find them interesting now. I am not scared of dying. End quote. End questions. Robyn, thank you for a very honest and interesting experience and sharing that with us. I found it quite enjoyable, and I wish you all the best. And thank you out there for listening. I hope you have a great day.